Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Gilda Evans, bringing you the Autism Resource Podcast. This podcast and the ARP website are your one stop knowledge and resource space for autism and much more. I'm happy to have Michelle Raz join me as my guest today. Michelle is an author and board certified coach specializing in ADHD and executive functioning, and is the founder of Raz-Coaching Academics, Thrive Beyond Therapy, and Sprout Coach. She has been empowering neurodivergent students since 2010 through her online academic coaching platform, which uses neuroscience-backed strategies to help middle school, high school, and college students develop executive function skills for academics and career development. She is also a founding member of the Octopus Movement, a global think tank for promoting the gifts of nonlinear thinkers. Welcome, Michelle, and thank you so much for taking the time to join me and discuss the work that you do.
Thank you for having me here today.
So, to begin with, tell us a bit about why you started coaching academics and a little bit about what it is exactly.
Mhm. So let's just go back to about 2010. A parent struggling with a nonlinear thinker in an academic system that wasn't really prepared for her type of thinking and learning. And so, as a parent and vigilant with an education background, I set ablaze on the internet back then, which very limited information, and utilized my curriculum background to um, combine a coaching platform with the academics that I had to serve not only her, but quickly grew into other students. And then by word of mouth, I became quite busy. Over the years, I was able to refine it and decided that I could reach a larger audience, help more people if I could systematize this and develop a training program where it could be replicated. And today, I'm going to fast forward, so many years later, our success rates are over 90% when followed in the program that I developed over time, but it came and grew out of my own struggles. And the great thing is that my daughter today, we all have these catalysts in our lives of where life points us. She is a successful businesswoman who's won awards in her business today, and that also spurred me into the workforce development piece as well. But it was a mother's journey ultimately.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah.
And they so often are. We see a need and we jump in to fill that gap, and amazing, wonderful things grow out of that.
Mhm.
So, by the way, what you do is online, right? Or is it perhaps a combination of online and in person? So
Yeah.
you can serve people wherever they happen to be, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. Initially, I started out doing a hybrid, and over time, everybody wanted to move online. This is, obviously way before 2020 with COVID. And what I found was that we meet people where they're at on the fly, on the go. And what happened then is we had so much more buy-in from the students and later on adults and different, I've worked with people 70 years old with executive functioning skills development. But it is 100% virtual today.
Okay. All right. Now, I have my next question that I'd like to move on to. You use the term self-agency.
Yeah.
What exactly is that? How does it play a role in your program to
Mhm.
support academic success for neurodivergent students?
So often, our neurodivergent community really lack the confidence to be able to self-direct for themselves. My program was founded on the philosophy that everybody is the master of themselves. They know what is best for them with guidance. So we empower them to be able to take control over their decisions in their lives with proper guidance and support so that the knowledge is there, with the ultimate goal at the end is that they are a capable human being, able able to direct their lives and to acknowledge what is best for them, to develop self-awareness so that they can make these decisions. And that is part of that self-agency, being able to come into their own and direct themselves and not be reliant on other people telling them what to do. And we start with that in the very first session. We don't even take a client in without them having what we call a buy-in. If nobody is bought into the process, the likelihood of the success is very small. And this is exactly how we can get that over 90% success rates, along with, they call me the accountability queen, because we have high accountability. So it's very structured, it's directed, it's a mix of powerful questionings with permission to give direct guidance that over time will change and form their confidence so that they can develop their own habits, routines, and then therefore have that self-agency to know what they are capable of doing. And I can just tell you story after story of successes where people have come in and they couldn't make a single decision without somebody directing them to being confident and looking at the world of what is possible, not what is impossible. We're in a climate that's better today, but when I first started out, I had a lot of different social medias that I did, and we would cross out the word impossible, or I'd take the apostrophe T out of can't. And it was always strength-based, strength first, discovering those strengths. And when you can build on those strengths and empower them to give them the tools, that's what we are, the tools to navigate the challenges. We dim the light on those challenges. We don't get rid of them. We dim them and give them tools to navigate so they can have strategies to develop those systems and routines that will form those lifelong habits so that they can have their self-agency.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Motivation is key, right? Taking accountability, being motivated, and being invested in your own success. I
Right. And if you
imagine
have,
that's huge. Yeah.
absolutely, if you have the confidence in yourself, you're going to be more motivated to tackle things that are new, things that are hard, transitioning. A lot of our clients come in and they're in a transitional phase, whether it be from middle school to high school to college, college to the workforce. Those are big monumental moments for anybody in life. And for our neurodivergent students, something new, it is a real struggle for them. And so we help them by giving them the tools to be able to transition in life in general.
Now, you used the term self-direction, and what that triggered in my mind was a question about paying for this program. The in very depending on where you are, it can be called self-direction, it can be called self-determination. But there are programs out there that can help people pay for this program. I'm sure you allow people to self-pay, but are there other ways that people can pay for the program if they can't afford whatever the fee might happen to be?
I'm so excited that you actually asked this question. I'm going to do a short answer, yes, and then I'm going to back that up. Yes, it's not cheap. When you have coaches that are working, we work anywhere from typically 2 days to 4 days a week with this high accountability action plans, once a month self-reflection to be able to track that growth, that empowerment. When you combine that, it's not cheap, but it works. This is why it's built over time, the reputation. I mean, one semester with academic goals, we had 100% of our students meet them. I don't like to advertise that. But consistently, I can say over 90%. And as far as their social emotional wellness, that's consistently over 90% as well. There is a program in the state of California, self-determination program through the regional centers. I am a vendor. The company is a vendor. So Raz Coaching Services, we're a vendor for the state. And that's a phenomenal opportunity to take advantage of our services in the scope of community development, and integrating them into the community. What better way to be able to attack the statistic for autism people that 85% are underemployed in America? Our proof over what we have with academic success, with the development of executive functioning skills, and we know how that's transferable into the workforce. We're really excited to be tackling that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go a step further. So we have, yes, there's pays with that. We are also licensed in 16, I should say vendorized in 16, 6 of the 13 states for ESA, educational savings accounts. And so I won't go into what that is, but that's another way. California does not have that. We fall underneath the self-determination program for that. But the great thing is I've partnered with a foundation called the Neurodiversity Foundation, and I've become the director of career pathways, workforce development. And we are developing AI. In fact, it's already done, trademarked AI tools that are 100% medically backed, not your chat GPT at all. And those services are being rolled out, and they will be highly affordable for those that wouldn't qualify for a regional center or ESA or self-pay. I'm also working with a wonderful proprietary platform, healthcare, and that's a company out of San Francisco. And they have partnered with hospitals that will allow HSAs to direct pay for our services. I mean, we're in the process right now of qualifying for that. So my passion has been to serve as many people. 20% of our population is identified as neurodivergent. That's a huge number. And so I'm also a SBA WSB, which that means is Women-Owned Small Business. What that does is it allows me to go for government procurements for things like developing tools for people with autism to be successful and contributing members and have a full-time job in the workforce. And so you opened a Pandora box with that one, but I'm absolutely here to serve this community in the best way I can possibly do it. We will always have a boutique one-on-one service available for anybody that you can either get into a self-pay or SDP program. But we're looking to expand that in ways that we can utilize this great technology in a responsible way that can serve more people more affordably.
All right, so you mentioned AI. Now you've opened up a Pandora's box. So tell me a little bit more about how you incorporate that into coaching. And if you do, how does it enhance the executive functioning skills for students?
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Well, you think about this. It's limitless. We really don't know. But here's what I have done. I have aligned myself with the foundation that has patents, government-like classified patents for medically researched knowledge that you cannot get through OpenAI. So one, you align with the most ethical source for that information, number one, which I've done. And I'm so excited to be a part of this team. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to say I just presented with the foundation at Stanford Neurodiversity Summit 2025. I just got a certificate yesterday it was in September. Last year I was an attendee. This year I presented in their poster forum of this exactly thing. We have 4 pillars that we're rolling out. And so you strive to go with the most medically researched, highest ethics out there. Then let's just look at the possibilities under that umbrella. And so I could go down a huge list of possibilities. Again, I'm going to start with one-on-one human interaction will trump anything, right? When we're talking about vulnerability, trust, the understanding the emotions. And there are, by the way, there is an AI out there that's trying to be able to take the nuances of emotions I mean, it's fascinating. That's not this topic here. Um, with that being said, what can it do? It can help personalize the learning path and target in with a proper executive functioning support. What does that mean? There is not a one all that's going to help our neurodivergent community. What do they say? If you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. So if you can have somebody that can understand you with the power of AI, with medically backed, 100% secure, vaulted, the foundation owns their own data centers. There is no leaking out. Um, it could be a digital coach with a human element, or even offered not. We can offer it at so many different levels. It can help the students really tackle, breaking their assignments into smaller chunks, just like a human can do. It can nudge you if you ask it to do that. You can let the student be utilizing in their powers of thinking instead of the remembering of everything, because so many of our clients really struggle with that short-term memory. Right now, we've been using AI for speech to text, right? Or text to speech. That's been around for quite a while. It's only getting better. It can help summarize things. It can be adapted for readers' dyslexia. I mean, the list goes on, and there are apps out there. I would just be careful with the sourcing of the information. And so I believe that this AI is going to help students practice self-advocacy. Think about this. I don't know about, well, I work in the education space, right? Or have for so many years. I can't tell you how many students need to reach out, like say a college student or even high school student, but even college. They are expected to be able to communicate with their professor or assistant professor or somebody in an email, and they bottleneck. They can't get through that. And so we've utilized AI to say, let's just start writing. Let's just see, what would AI tell you to do? What do you think about this? Now, here's the thing, you don't just copy and paste, right out of it. You become the authority on the messaging. But what it can do is help stimulate them to take action and say, well, okay, yeah, I like this, but that's not exactly what I would want it to say. And I'm going to tell you on a personal note, I have done that for years with students and saying, you need to reach out to your professor because you're struggling or this, or you want to set up a meeting and they don't know. And so I will prompt them for them, me as a person, say, what if you just started it like this? What do you think? So you have to be responsible with it, but what a great tool to help them on their own. I'm sure that people that would listen to this say, oh gosh, I've used that, or, give me a starter to give me ideas, help me do it. Yes, there's going to be people that copy and paste, without thinking it through, but really as a tool, just like anything else, it's as good as you're going to use it and you have the authority behind it. I think it can really help empower them. Here's another thing. We have students like interviewing for jobs. And I'll come up with a scenario. Years and years ago, I authored a book about happiness, passion, and purpose, and interviewing techniques. AI is beautiful. Give me a scenario. This is the field that I'm in. Here's my struggle in the interview. I'm nervous about this. Plug it in there. And it's a low stakes way to practice. And then you could bring in the human coach and actually practice it with them. It could just enhance it so much more. So I just see it as something like, what if AI became less about, for our clients, correcting their deficits and more about amplifying their strengths and helping them around some of these challenges that they have. And again, there's a lot of fear around this. There's going to be people that abuse it. So again, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Know that you align yourself with the best, the most trusted, the ethics, do your research on that, whatever you're going to be doing. I can see this way. I'm on a soapbox here a little bit, and then I'm going to go back to you because I'm really into the workforce development. And I really feel that AI can be a way that we can dismantle the way people have rigid job descriptions. And what I find is people come to me and say, Michelle, I fit these top 3 things in this job description, and everything else below it, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna fudge it a little bit. I've seen everybody's done that in an interview. Well, I'm just gonna pull in this random thing that aligns with that one job description. Well, as employers, and I've hired like probably over 40 coaches over the years. I've done it too, where you list this great unicorn list of skills you want this person to do, and then you hire them because of those top 2 or 3, and you're like, oh, they'll work through the rest of them. What if we just used AI to really target the way we hire? And maybe the job is, especially this IT is a perfect example. There's so many people, and I think I've read something was like 53% of the new generation identify as neurodivergent in the tech force. And don't quote me where the statistic came, but I'm sure it's higher. Than normal, that 20% that we've used statistically, I think the CDC does. But if we are able to turn this upside down and say, let's just hire for that amazing talent, that one that's going to put that company on the map for their out of the box thinking, and then give the support, hire for the support that they need, rather than trying to force them into being this unicorn of descriptions. And I think AI can be a tool in that as well. So, and then lastly, I can say the AI is really good. Like a lot of our clients really have cognitive overload. And what happens with that? They shut down. And so this can help them be organized, chunk it down, talk to them. And so I could go on and on and on. I've got a whole program for training managers on how to recognize neurodiversity inclusion and giving them tools through AI to be able to help individual scenarios. Again, it's not a rubber stamp that you were talking with humans here. So anyway, does that give you some idea
Yeah,
where
I
I'm
mean
going with
that is
it?
absolutely fascinating. And by the way, the statistics are a lot higher, I think, even than you're quoting. My research was last year, according to the CDC, just here in the United States alone, 1 in 30 will get newly diagnosed with autism this year. And if you extrapolate that globally, it's
Yeah.
it's something like 80 million plus diagnosed with autism. And then if you throw all the other neurodivergent diagnoses and physical disabilities and so forth and everything into the barrel, it's something like 1 billion people, which is roughly 1 in 7 people on this planet. So it's a
Uh,
lot of people.
exactly.
It's a lot of people.
And let me just make a point. I was reading something recently that things that are developed for people with a disability often can be helpful for the general public or the people that don't are undiagnosed. And so by
Absolutely.
changing how we help our students, our workforce, employees, the managers, it is going to be a ripple effect in their lives, the other people's lives, the ones that come in contact. It's a shift in how we are going about um, living in this fast-paced society and expectations and doing it all. And then AI is an amazing tool to be able to do that with. And of course, my coaching program. Again, I think we'll always have our boutique one because we definitely we love our one-on-one human component. But we will be enrolling more and more tools to be introduced. I have a fabulous company that we're going to be aligning with, and I'm just going to do shout out Wibbly. They're making headways, and it is an AI-driven tool and visualization for people to understand visually science and math. It's visuals. So what does an equation look like? What does the geometry look like visually? And so we're able to have this inclusion and meet people where they're at. I would have used that if I had it, and I had no diagnosis growing up, but boy, that would have made geometry a whole lot better if I could have had a visual top down understanding of how this whole thing works together. So progress on that end. And I'm not saying this is the cure all end all, and there's going to be issues. There always is.
Well, but I'll tell you, Michelle, it sounds like you are on the crest of the wave for all of this, and I just can't wait to see where it goes from here. But we have come to the point where I do want to ask you, is there anything we haven't touched on yet that you want to mention? And also, if you could give the parents of neurodivergent students one piece of advice to support them on their child's academic and eventually career journey, what would that be?
Okay, so let's start with first, and maybe this can be what it is. First of all, what we really focus on and what my hat has been besides accountability queen is executive functioning skills. Without executive functioning skills, the academics are going to be a struggle. Workforce is going to be a struggle. You need to have functioning executive skills to be able to maneuver through a day. And we all struggle from time to time with them. Um, we highlight what can be going on in their lives to be affecting those executive functioning skills. And for those that don't know, you can look it up, but let's just we're talking organization, time management, planning, short-term memory, emotional regulation. Here's my tip. If you are struggling with your neurodivergent student or anybody in your life, honestly, like again, this is the ripple effect. Start with the emotional regulation. If you are trying to get a point across to help somebody and they are dysregulated emotionally, anxiety, depression, anger, whatever you're saying is going to be the old Charlie Brown movie. We want, right? It's you have to address that emotional layer first. Establish a safe, trusting environment where they feel that they can open up and build that trust. And that's what we do in our coaching. That's like rule number one. And as parents, this is to you directly. Do it in a way, if you're going to approach your student or adult, and it's really important, make it like a date. Don't do it when there's distractions, the TV's going, there's other, family members in the room. Be very direct. Take a drive. Take them for ice cream. Take a walk. Take the dog for a walk, cat, whatever you're going to do. But isolate and do it and be very intentional. They will hear you. And if it's an emotional regulation issue, it will help to de-escalate it. And I have found over time, if you start with that, whatever you're having to address, and it's never easy, it can be very scary to have to address this with your student, your partner even. But that will create that safe place so that then you can deal with that emotional regulation, then get into whatever the issues that you are trying to work through with their other executive functioning skills.
Well, I think that's really good advice, Michelle. Really good advice. And I want to thank you for everything that you've shared with us today. And I also want to thank you very much for your time. And you are welcome to come back and give us a report later on as things grow and continue.
Yes, please look me up on LinkedIn, really, honestly, Michelle Raz, R-A-Z, and you can see the whole Stanford thing and you can learn about the 4 pillars with the foundation. But, I have these websites, razcoaching.com, and that's kind of an overview site, but specifically academic, and especially if you are a self-determination program person or interested in that, Coaching Academics. .com is where I house all that. I didn't even talk about Thrive Beyond Therapy and Sprout Coach, but please, it's my passion. It's my work. I would be just, it is my mission to change that statistic and it's to elevate and bring out the best in everybody and promote self-agency.
Well, thank you again, Michelle. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you for sharing your time and your story with us today.
Absolutely.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, and other popular platforms. We'd appreciate you taking the time to leave us a review. You can also listen to the podcast on YouTube at ARP Social, where you'll find bonus content And also be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram to get up-to-date notifications about the latest news and episodes. If you would like more information on anything else we've covered on the Autism Resource Podcast, visit us online at autismresourceproject.org/podcast. Be sure to check out our growing website often, since we are continually adding useful information and resources. I want to thank our listeners for spending part of their day with us. This is the Autism Resource Podcast, and I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.